Mark Carney lied to Canadians. He lied to Canadians saying that his company, Brookfield Asset Management, only moved their headquarters from Canada to Donald Trump's hometown of New York City after he had resigned from the board. Now, we all know that Brookfield made that announcement on October the 31st, proving that Mr. Carney was lying to Canadians. But this morning, we can share with you a letter signed by Mark Carney on December the 1st. Now, this is days after, just days after, Donald Trump had threatened Canada for the first time with unjustified tariffs. Now, this letter says that the decision by the board, of which Mark Carney at that time was chair, was unanimous to move the headquarters and Canadian jobs to Donald Trump's hometown of New York City. And the letter implores shareholders, urges them to support the move. Now, this is not surprising.
So this is where, okay, because I was reading Mark Carney's tweets about this, and I was like, what is he talking about? Like, what is this coming from? And this was the thing, I reposted Michael Barrett tweeting about. I think he tweeted about this last night, right after the debate happened. He tweeted this. And I think I reposted it on the GroundedTV one just so everyone can get that information. Every time I find liberal or conservative posting something like that, I'm going to try and repost it so you guys can, like, if you follow us, it'll slip into your radar or your feed there. But yeah, like that. Okay, so I want to hear more of what he has to say on this.
But it is extraordinary to have Mark Carney stand before Canadians and in response to media questions to lie. It's now more important than ever that he disclose all of his financial interests and conflicts of interest, knowing that he's been advising the Liberals and Justin Trudeau for 5 years and not having disclosed what his interests were to this point. It's imperative that it happens in case he becomes Prime Minister. And it's more important than ever now that he's demonstrably lied to Canadians. We know that we can't trust what Mark Carney says, and we now know that...
Hey, welcome back, Eric Cake. And that's what I was saying. It's like, I feel like he's saying in the chat, the Liberal debate yesterday was kind of funny. There's four people agreeing with each other for the most part. This is what I mean, right? Is like, they were all towing a line. That's why I said, regardless of what happened with Ruby, pretty convenient for them that happened. That she was, because I feel like she would have been a disruptor in that debate, or would have just been the common target, which probably would have fueled her campaign even more, not going to lie. But it would have changed things quite a bit, I think, from what we saw last night, which was a very rehearsed, dry, monotone staff meeting to a degree with some digs that were very subtle. You know, Karina Gould and Christie were the only ones that really had digs, and they were like, we don't want to be conservative light. And Anthony Housefather didn't even think that was an insult, because he tweeted, I'll pull up the tweet, because I thought this was like a great example of where their heads are at. And especially like for the Liberal Party, because like to me, this is why it doesn't seem legitimate. It just seems like so rehearsed. You know what I mean? And that's where they kind of lose people like me. Even if I've been called center right 100 times, so I guess I'm center right. And it's like, this is like this is what I'm saying. Okay, so where did he tweet it? It was Canada needs a leader who is a ferocious mother. Oh, great, that's exactly what we need. Last I heard, that was called the devouring mother. Anthony Housefather. Every single leadership candidate tonight was respectful to their opponents. No insults, no nasty nicknames, pragmatic, centrist policies, a real contrast to the opposition. Well done. Pat ourselves on the back again, guys, for another job well done. So this right here is exactly where their heads are at, right? They look at last night as a win, showing, oh, we're more cooperative than the Conservatives. All I saw was people I thought would be a little bit more aggressive towards Trudeau's former administration if they weren't collaborating behind the scenes together. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's no authenticity here. It's just fake. You know, it's like we all are forced to be nice to each other. but I thought it was a good example of where the liberal mindset is within caucus.
He will put profits for himself and for well-connected insiders on Bay Street and now on Wall Street ahead of Canadians.
Yeah, I said Housefather reminds me of Tim Allen in Christmas of the Cranks when he gets the tan and he comes out and he's just like all tanned. And it's like, hey, how's it going? Or like a very tan, Botoxed Ross from Friends, but like a younger Ross. If you look at David Schwimmer today, he doesn't look anything like Housefather. But if you look at a young David Schwimmer, like, David Schumer, I think his name is, Ross from Friends, you give him a bunch of Botox and a spray tan, he kind of looks like Housefather in my opinion.
Crystal clear. If Mark Carney wins, Canada loses.
Merci, Michael. Bonjour tout le monde. Hier, après le débat en anglais, la
Stop this
dit avoir la Canadien.
in the next election. Would you legislate changes to the law to stop
Hey,
this disclosure loophole from happening?
Welcome back.
We have with Mark Carney and this revelation of his willingness to lie to Canadians and his refusal to be transparent to Canadians against a practice that was established. It didn't need to be legislated before. Even during the last Liberal leadership race, noted
Welcome back, Kane.
serial ethical lawbreaker Justin Trudeau disclosed his financial dealings. Note, he disclosed all of his speaking engagements, his inheritance, months.
Yeah, at this point, there's so much like lack of public trust. I feel like the only way to reinstate trust in the system is to have an election as soon as possible. And honestly, at this point, I think it's kind of anyone's like I don't know. I feel like Polyev still has a like I'm hopeful he's got some stuff up his sleeve that's going to come out once the election's actually called. Like they're saving the big guns for that. So especially for whoever the leader ends up being, right? Like Mark Carney, right? Like they want them to be confident. They want the Liberals to get confident, feel like they're going to win. So they call the election and then they come in with the, snap the trap shut. I'm hoping something like that is what their plan is, but we'll see, right? Because I hope they have some kind of plan. Because right now, Pierre hasn't really been doing that much, right? I feel like he's just kind of sitting back and seeing who wins this leadership race and who his actual opponent is going to be.
Before the Liberal leadership race. And though not a requirement, currently, the rules are proven to be, yet again, not strong enough to withstand the Liberals' desire to be deceitful with Canadians. And so, of course, we're going to strengthen the laws. But today, the question is, why is it that Mark Carney is so desperate to hide these details from Canadians? It appears, based on the revelation of his most recent lie, that he's got something to hide, and Canadians deserve answers from Mark Carney.
Mr. Barrett, at least 2 opinion polls now show the Liberals in the lead ahead of the Conservatives. A myriad of other polls show that the Liberals are now within striking distance with between 3 and 5 points. You were leading, your party was leading by 20 points a month ago. How much responsibility does Pierre Poilievre hold for the loss of this lead?
The thing is Pierre might have lost a 20-something point lead, which was historic. Let's not forget, Pierre has had historical polling numbers previously. I know they love to dismiss that until Carney starts doing well at the polls. But you have to remember, like, the idea that, it's really the support from the Bloc and NDP flocking to the Liberals, it looks like. It doesn't look like the Conservatives are actually losing that much support. I feel like they lost like their all-time high of 57. I feel like everybody knew that wasn't going to last. It wasn't supposed to last. It was like a 30-point lead they had at a point. It wasn't. Everyone knew it wasn't going to last. As soon as Trudeau announced his resignation, it did. It ended, right? And then he was 47%, and then now he's still like a 43, 42, even on the ones that put Carney at a 40. That's what I mean. It's like the country seems to be pushing the other parties aside and not giving a crap anymore. And it's all between Conservative and Liberal. And I feel like this is what I mean. It's become like the election of the center, right? Who can prove they're just the adult in the room, right? And I think we need to remember that it's a good sign to a degree. It is a good sign. It means we're waking up, we're getting our composure back, we're getting in shape, we're finally going back on the diet. You know what I mean? That's kind of what we're doing as a country, and I think that's important. We're putting the Trudeau away, getting it out of our systems. It's gone, going back to some sense of normalcy, I think now. So, oops.
And are you thinking of adjusting your strategy to fix this?
It was just 2 weeks ago that we were in downtown Ottawa and we had thousands of Canadians excitedly hear the message from Pierre Poilievre about putting Canada first, our plan to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime, and to resolve the issues that the Liberals have all but ignored that put us in a place of weakness, economic weakness, as Mark Carney described it last night after having been an economic advisor to the Liberals and to Justin Trudeau. When I'm talking to my constituents, I'm hearing from Canadians across the country, they want us to eliminate the Liberals' carbon tax on everything. They want us to take the tax off of new homes, saving Canadians tens of thousands of dollars. They want us to put in place a dollar-for-dollar law and stop the out-of-control spending that we've seen that's driving inflation in this country. They want us to deal with the scourge of out-of-control crime on the streets of Canada. So what we're hearing from Canadians is that they want us to execute a plan that will put Canada first after 9 years of pain, misery, and expense caused by the Carney-Trudeau Liberals.
Polls show that Canadians are most worried about the threat of Donald Trump. What is your party doing in regards to responding to the overwhelming opinion of Canadians right now that they are worried and they are anxious about what Donald Trump will be doing in this term to Canada's sovereignty?
Look, we've called consistently.
Sorry, I shouldn't have done this. I've been dealing with a very stressful situation all week, and I just got some amazing news. So I'm just a little bit thrown off here for a sec. Just give me a second to compose myself. Try not to squeal like a girl here. Holy shit, guys. Yeah, I'm very excited. I can't share what's happening yet, but once it happens, there's one more obstacle to jump, but once it's in there, it's gonna be cool because I got some plans, and yeah, it's gonna help. It's something to do with the show. Like, there's something to do with my personal life, but there's a bonus in there that's gonna also help with the show and everything too, and my whole setup for the show and everything. Like, and I'll be making a brief video about it all once I get the final verdict. But I just got some very good news. What I thought was like a 20% success rate became an 80% success rate just now. So that is what I'm very excited about. But anyways, we're going to get back to this, guys. Sorry about that. But I can't delve into details yet, not until it's 100% happening. We're at like 80 to 90% territory right now.
The House of Commons to be unlocked. Justin Trudeau and Team Carney have decided to padlock Parliament. We put forward a plan, Pierre Poilievre's plan to bring forward a.
Yeah, I know I'm not being very fair. I can't tell you until it's for sure happening. I don't want to jinx it. And yes, I'm a little bit superstitious about certain things. A little bit.
A bring-it-home tax cut that would help grow Canadians' paychecks, that would help grow jobs in this country, help improve investment to take down.
Sorry, back to politics. Luca in the chat here. Open up the Constitution, Charter, CCC, and redo them all in favor of the citizen. You'll get my vote. Yeah, I think Michael Barrett, like, I'm having a hard time understanding exactly what you're meaning. What does the CCC stand for again? Are you talking about the Canadian Constitution Charter? I don't know what you're talking about there. I haven't seen that abbreviation before. Just want to elaborate on that. I wish he would become the new deputy. Like, I would like him to be deputy PM over Lanceman. I'm not a big Lanceman fan. Never have been. I honestly thought, I was like, what, is she like a DEI hire or something? Like not to be a mean, but like, she can go toe to toe. But in terms of like, I feel like there were just other people within the Conservative Party that are just like way, like Michael Barrett is a good example of someone who's got that more oomph, you know what I mean? That she doesn't quite have. And it's nothing against Lanceman. I just think she's probably a really nice person, right? And I think that's like, I feel like Michael Barrett's got what it takes to be a bit of a dick. And I think that she doesn't have that.
interprovincial.
Canadian Criminal Code. Sorry, cop act. Oh, okay. Well, my dad would probably understand what that is, but I don't.
Trade barriers that have been left in place after 9 years of the Carney.
Okay, so what you're saying is you want someone to come in and revamp the entire. Well, they've already kind of said that, right? Like that's what they want to do. That's what Poilievre was saying. He'd use the notwithstanding clause for, right? Was to revamp bail reform and make, basically take rights away from violent criminals, and there's a reason for it. Like why are people like Luke Magnotta and Paul Bernardo playing hockey, and the video was leaked by a prison. I'm pretty sure it was like a prison guard leaked photos or a video of these two playing hockey, right? In this prison because they're on good behavior. And like when this this approach that our justice administration was getting of was by giving, I don't know if it started with the safe supply, but I think it kind of started with looking at addicts more as victims and like a sickness than a personal life choice. And then I feel like that stemmed into criminals. And now we're looking at criminals in this same way. And that just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like you have some people, I think, that they're just like Paul Bernardo and Luke Magnotta are good examples of people who just have like a screw loose. And I don't think they're ever, I don't think they're fixable. Like not to be too harsh, but there was some harsh punishments in history reserved for people like them. People like them wouldn't have gotten the treatment they got when they committed their crimes how many years ago. And now, like if people like that were to commit the same crimes today, they wouldn't be getting the same punishments, right? Because they're trying to respect people's rights, which I understand, but they're extending that to criminals and violent criminals, extremely violent criminals that have done horrific, monstrous things. And that's where I think why we kind of lose track here, right? And I think it's the same thing why we just shouldn't get involved in stuff like that. We shouldn't get involved in safe supply. We shouldn't get involved in like condoning crime, you know what I mean? Or condoning breaking the law, or looking at the people who break the law are just a victim in a sense, right? And I think addiction is a different situation. I've been around it a lot in life, like not me personally, my family, not really, but like, just I have family that worked in the counseling and recovery and social service network of that. And yeah, like their stories, what they've seen, all the people they know and what they dealt, like, it's just, it's a different story. But anyways, I'm rambling here.
Trudeau Liberals to have these conversations in the House comes to remove the carbon tax, which is a self-imposed tariff put in place by Justin Trudeau, supported and encouraged as not having been high enough by Mark Carney. These are the conversations, these are the debates, these are the decisions, the laws that need to be passed in Parliament. Conservatives have called for Parliament to be reopened to deal with it. But what's happened is Canada was...
Well, that's what I mean, Rob, is like, I don't think that's what they're intending to do, but I think what happens is when you approach it, like I said, like you treat these criminals like they're victims and they just have a sickness, that's where you end up, is you end up there. And you're like, how do I apply? And they don't know what to do in some cases. And I think that's why I'm really glad Arif Irani's stepping down and he's not running for re-election last I saw. So it's just like, you can't, like, I don't know the right answer. I'll say that. I really don't. But I just think the way we're going about it just can't be the right way to go about it.
Given a 30-day extension, a reprieve from Donald Trump's unjustified tariffs on Canada. And what have the Liberals done? They've turned away from that, turned inwards to deal with their internal party politics. The best effort that we've seen from them so far is apparently they're handing out friendship bracelets on Capitol Hill. That's not going to...
Yeah, the friendship bracelet pizza party. Yeah, you guys seen that? That's actually, they're actually doing that. It was so funny because like people were giving them crap for where they set up because they're setting up one of the busiest public buildings in Ottawa. But I thought it was kind of funny because it's like, you know what, whatever. Like, you're obviously trying to hit a bunch of people. It's fine for setting up. I don't think it's wrong for setting up there. But let's just focus on why the friendship bracelets? Why the bracelets? You know what I mean? Like, I get that Pierre was handing out apples at a point, but bracelets? Is that what you're going with? Really?
To cut it. Canadians are worried about their jobs. Canadians are worried about our sovereignty. I have to say that Conservatives have been crystal clear. Canada will never be the 51st state. We're a proud country. We're a proud democracy. Part of that democracy is our parliament. Why has Justin Trudeau padlocked it?
That public approval for the Liberals is increasing.
we've put forward our plan for Canadians, and look, we've heard a strong resonance.
I think my dad literally has it on a T-shirt, Rob. My dad just got a T-shirt with that on it. I'm not even joking.
Gave an example of just last weekend here in Ottawa with thousands of Canadians coming.
Yeah, no worries, Autumn. I had some things come up right as the stream was supposed to start at noon today, and then I pushed it off when I was dealing with it. And then, you know, just because we're dealing with something, my family's dealing with something. My wife's at work all day. She's got a pretty demanding job. So basically I'm the one who's got to, I'm working from home and stuff now. So it's like, I got to be answering the phones and doing all the stuff I can do. Cause I can still get most of what I'm doing done while doing all that stuff too, whereas she can't. So yeah. But anyways, it came up earlier, then Saul ended up going on his own. And then, I ended up coming in for a little bit after, and now we're doing a little bit of a second stream to make up for the lost time today.
Coming to hear that message, and what we're hearing in our communities is that Canadians want us to put Canada first. It's disappointing that the Liberals have decided to put party over country and to focus all of their energy and effort on their internal party politics instead of dealing with the real issues that are facing Canadians. Pierre Poilievre and common sense Conservatives are the only party that will put Canada first.
Explain to Canadians why it matters.
I gotta look into that one, Jose.
De se retirer. Avez-vous une exigence là, que vous revendiquez aujourd'hui?
Ben, l'exigence, on l'a depuis longtemps, c'est aux Canadiens.
Why it matters, though? Like, what's the significance of the fact that they chose? It's a technical move. It's a paper move to move the headquarters from Toronto to New York. They still have presence in Toronto. So why does this matter?
Donald Trump asked companies to move to the United States, asked them to take their jobs, to take their investment dollars to the United States. And we saw this during his first term, and we're seeing it again now. He hadn't even taken office, but he had threatened Canada with unjustified and unjust tariffs on Canada and on Canadians. And what was the response from Mark Carney? It was to immediately support and to his board unanimously voting to move their headquarters from Canada to New York City, not standing up to Donald Trump, not protecting Canadian interests, Canadian investment, Canadian jobs, not even modeling good behavior. He did exactly what Donald Trump asked before he was even in the Oval Office. And the purpose, as outlined in the letter from Mark Carney to shareholders, where he implores them, where he begs them to vote in support of moving this Canadian jobs to the United States, it's for profits. It was so that they could make more money, so that Mark Carney could make.
And what he's trying to say is Mark Carney isn't a patriot, right? He's a businessman. He's not someone who's gonna I kind of get what he's coming from. Is like if the motive is Canada first, you know, he's trying to say Carney's not gonna put Canada first, right? That's what he's getting at here. And yeah, Luca, that's what I've heard. Like, you know, we have family, me and my brother, that have worked in policing and stuff, and like, they went into it with a really good mindset and like they were going to make a difference, and they ended up leaving with a really bad view on how the system works and the internal politics. And I guess all the crap that gets swept under the rug, once you see it all, you probably lose a lot of good faith you maybe once had. Like, I feel like you have to be pretty good faith to want to join those jobs. And then when you get in there, and if it's not what you expected it to be, and you see bad faith insert everywhere you look, or you just see things being swept under the rug, things not going the way you thought it was going to go, then I could see that being very disheartening and, you know, very demoralizing.
Make more money, and that his well-connected friends would make more money doing exactly what Donald Trump has asked. Pierre Poilievre and Canada's Conservatives are the only ones who will stand up to Donald Trump. And Mark Carney has demonstrated himself to not only be a liar, but also to be willing and prepared to do exactly what Donald Trump says and exactly when he asks for it.
Last question. Mr. Mayor, you just said a few minutes ago that you plan to eliminate the carbon tax and everything. So does that mean that the Conservatives plan to also get rid of the industrial carbon tax in the next election?
Look, we've said that the effect of the carbon tax has been clear for 9 years. We have the price of groceries having gone up, food price inflation in this country rising faster than it has in the United States. Home heating, of course, has gone up. We have the price of everything, putting gas in your car. These are not luxuries, feeding, heating, and housing yourself, but this is what the Liberals have been taxing. We've seen what Mark Carney has said, that he's going to put in place a shadow carbon tax, and that's going to be on industry, saying that it's just going to be on steel plants, for example. Well, this is while Donald Trump is threatening tariffs on those very industries. So the Liberal solution to tariffs is to put in place more tariffs on Canadians, a self-imposed one. Conservatives are going to make sure that we are competitive, to make sure that we have an environment where businesses can thrive, where Canadians can have powerful paychecks. We're not going to hammer Canadian businesses at the same time that we're being hit with unjustified tariffs by Donald Trump and the United States. So look, you can count on Conservatives putting forward common sense plans. We've said that we're going to take the tax off.